Are you looking to become a mensch? Well, welcome back to the Mensch Podcast, the podcast where we explore Jewish identity, teen life, and the issues shaping our generation. Today, we're joined by Itai Shechter, a Jewish teen activist from San Jose who has built one of the largest Jewish high school clubs in the country. Itai has become a powerful voice against anti-Semitism, and today we talk about his experiences after October 7th, how he turned adversity into activism, and the importance of Jewish allies and the future of what Jewish youth looks like. Now, let's get into it.
Thank you, Itai. Welcome to the show.
So, Itai, give us a little bit of background onto yourself and how you came to.
Okay. Well, my name's Itai Shechter. I'm from San Jose, California, originally born in Israel to Jewish parents. Moved here at 5 years old. Attended public school for my whole life. And yeah, I guess that's my intro. You can take it from there.
Yeah. So, how has your Jewish experience been at school, you'd say, within most of your lifetime? Has it changed in middle school and high school, and especially since October 7th? And has there been any memorable moments of anti Semitism that you'd like to maybe highlight a little bit?
Throughout most of my school experience, being Jewish had nothing to do with my school life. Maybe a few holidays here and there, days I had to skip, or cultural celebration. But when I got to high school, which I go to public high school of 1,800 students around, I started to notice anti-Semitism, which is pretty wild to me because I've never seen it before that moment. Things from highlighting the Holocaust in unfair ways, or mentions of the Nakba in posters at school, or Israeli apartheid and genocide started popping up even before October 7th. And of course, October 7th only amplified that by a very, very large scale. I started seeing anti-Semitism every week, every day. People would come to me with comments on their Instagram or comments that they received in person in classes from teachers and from students, from their own peers. One moment that I would like to highlight is the first very blatant piece of anti-Semitism after October 7th, which actually had nothing to do with October 7th. It was a student coming up to me and showing me the Hitler salute, Heiling Hitler, which was pretty shocking at my sophomore year of high school.
Crazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. Yeah.
So, obviously, you're a true leader in the Jewish community, and I've seen all your achievements and all the things you've been doing within the Jewish community. Would you say that you've always been one and you're more of a natural leader, or has it been like a response to October 7th and you just rose to the challenge?
So most of my activism has come through my Jewish Culture Club, which I co-founded with a few friends in my freshman year of high school. But honestly, it wasn't many acts of activism in there until October 7th. It was more just celebrating culture. October 7th really woke me up. I realized that I didn't know as much as I needed to. If you asked me that day, I wouldn't be able to tell you who Hamas was or why they attacked Israel. And that really scared me. As a sophomore in high school, experiencing all this anti-Semitism, and I didn't know why. October 7th showed me that staying silent or treating my Judaism as just another detail about me wasn't possible anymore. It wasn't going to be safe for me or my peers. So October 7th really, or my leadership in the Jewish community really was a response to October 7th at large.
Yeah, I know. Maybe me and Mark also really had a lot of maybe similar experiences throughout our high school experience. And we still have, I think, many experiences and we'll have to overcome as well a lot more anti-Semitism throughout the rest of our high school journey. So maybe also, I would love if you could tell us about your Jewish club at Lee, I heard it's like the most popular JSU in the entire country.
We've seen on Instagram. It's pretty impressive.
Thank you. And so yeah, as I said, I co-founded a Jewish Culture Club at my public high school with 1,800 students in my freshman year. We started celebrating just cultural celebrations, holidays, Jewish customs, the language, and touched upon Israel a few times here and there. And the first meeting was pretty crazy to me. We didn't get to start it our first semester because it's a little bit tricky to start a club at our school. So we started it second semester of our freshman year. And our first meeting, I remember being really scared that no one would show up because Jewish culture clubs were attempted in the past in my school and they were never successful. Actually, the one that came the year before us had to disband because they only had 5 people at their meeting, or around 5. I was very scared that no one would show up. And at our first meeting, as people were coming in, they kept on coming in and coming in. And I think it was around a meeting out of 95 people,
Wow.
which, or any high schoolers
That's
listening,
crazy.
and for you too, I know for a club that's pretty unheard of for a normal lunchtime event, pretty difficult to get that large of a crowd, especially for a cultural club. And at that, especially for a Jewish cultural club. And taking it from there, the club continued to be a success. We really tried to focus on not only catering to our Jewish students, also attracting many non-Jewish students so they can learn what being Jewish is all about and what Judaism is all about. And I think a lot of the hate that we see today is from a place of not knowing. And so I think that the best way for me to combat anti-Semitism would have been through educating people who do not know anything about the matter. Pretty hard for them to start hating us if they have already seen great things that we do with them or with our community. They love us already. And in one of our first years, we applied for the CUHSD Empathy Grant, and we were awarded $2,500 to set up the flag project, which is a product that we put on during Yom HaShoah, which is Israeli Day of Remembrance for the Holocaust, where we plant 11,000 marker flags of different colors in our school central lawn, each flag representing 1,000 people murdered in the Holocaust, and each color representing a different group of people. For example, yellow was Jewish people, and green was people with disabilities, blue was Roma people, pink was homosexual. It was really important to us because we think it showed our community or our school community how the Holocaust didn't only affect Jews, and what starts with the Jews definitely does not end with the Jews. A lot of people don't know that the 6 million number, it didn't stop there. It wasn't just 6 million people murdered. It was also millions and millions of other people that weren't Jewish that were murdered in the Holocaust.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
as you
Yeah,
guys-
that's Jewish
yeah.
Culture Club.
as our listeners can tell, you're pretty amazing. First of all, it's as Jewish Club, hopefully co-presidents next year, I think we can tell how immensely challenging and finding 95 people to come to the club is. It's definitely unheard of. And it really speaks, I think, to the work that you put in to outreach, your Instagram, your people skills. So I think that's really also a reflection of you. And the flag project, I think that's super creative, and it's also incredibly impactful because so many people, thousands of kids walk through your school every day, and maybe some of them don't know what it is, but then they ask more questions like, what do these flags represent? And then they dig deeper, maybe they look at the description, they ask other people. And so I think it's a very effective way at actually spreading this Holocaust knowledge indirectly. So I definitely thank you for doing that on behalf of all the other Jewish
Thank
youth.
you.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I want to go back to the flag project. I know myself and a lot of the other club officers and just club members We like to sit outside during lunchtime during those weeks every year that the flag project is up and just see how people are taking time out of their day, stopping and interacting with the memorial, trying to wrap their head around the fact that this many people were murdered by hate. Part of the description for the memorial, like we have a key or a legend that has all the different colors, what they mean. It says that two flags are the entire school's population, including students, faculty, staff, teachers. And it's crazy to see how tiny two flags is because I don't know if you can put this up on video, but it's a field of flags. It feels never ending.
Mm.
Another project that we got to with that same grants, we applied again to the CUHSD grants for a second year and also were awarded $2,500 was the Shalom mural, where we recently painted a map of the world in the entrance to our school, a map of the world with no borders, with the word peace written in every language where that language is spoken. We tried to fit as many languages as possible. Of course, there are many, many languages, and in some parts, very small areas of the world. We definitely focused on making sure that everyone in the school, their languages were part of the mural. So we went around asking people for whatever their language was and if they could help us make sure that their language was represented. That was one of I think, the most fun parts of Jewish Culture Club for me, leaving a little part of our legacy in the school, because hopefully the mural will be there for a very long time. Through the Jewish Culture Club, we also, as you heard from the Holocaust Memorial, Yom HaShoah Flag Project, we focused a lot on Holocaust education. On 2 different years, we hosted interviews with Holocaust survivors after school. One of them being our largest after-school event with around 220 attendees, where I interviewed Mrs. Suzanne DeWitt in front of that crowd on her experiences throughout the Holocaust, living in an old-aged home, living in labor camps in Dachau, and then her experiences with anti-Semitism later on in the United Kingdom and then in the United States. And through one of those events where we highlighted anti-Semitism in the lens of the Holocaust, I also interviewed Santa Clara District Attorney Jeffrey Rosen, and he told us, or we talked a lot about what hate crimes meant to Jewish people and what they actually are legally and how our community can go about reporting them. I think it's very important for a Jewish Culture Club to not only be fun and not only be education. I think there needs to be a strong balance of both. Otherwise, your members can get a little bit bored and the amount of people that come to meetings might go a little bit down, or your members might not be getting the full education that you could provide them if your events are only focused on having.
Yeah, I think we've really taken inspiration from all your success at your Jewish club and kind of brought it in our leadership experience back at Carmont, where we try and kind of add snacks in to try and bring outside maybe individuals who wouldn't often go to a Jewish club, but we have snacks and we have sometimes games. I think that really allows us to try and get a larger audience even outside of the Jewish community, which kind of segues into one of my questions of how important do you believe allies are for the Jewish cause and educating about them about our culture?
Very important. I think seeing non-Jewish people stand up for the Jewish people and for Israel is one of the most inspiring things for a young Jewish teen or any Jewish person. Seeing that other people are standing up with you, even though it might not benefit them, it makes you feel so seen and so supported. I know one of my favorite moments is seeing the non-Jewish people come to our club We have one member who is actually our most faithful member. They've been to more meetings than I have because I was sick for one meeting. Sorry. They are not Jewish. And seeing them at every meeting, enjoying the culture, learning about Jewish holidays, and going to the Syria-based meetings, helping set up the Flag Project, helping set up the Chaim Holocaust Museum, attending interviews, attend with Suzanne DeWitt and Jeffrey Rosen. It's been a great journey with them. They're also graduating with me this year, and I felt very supported just seeing them think through the Jewish Culture Club this whole time. All they're looking for has been education, and that's all they got.
I think it's really rewarding just to see like these non-Jews showing up so consistently to Jewish Club, and it makes me so happy that there's like a community that's with us, because the Jewish community is very small. We can't get through all of our battles just by ourselves. Like, we're 0.2% of the global population. We have allies, and we're always going to need allies. And I think these types of initiatives and your club is just a great way to attract these allies, because oftentimes I think there's not like a stigma. It's a little daunting for someone. Oh yeah, I'm not a Jew. Like, someone says, I'm going to Jewish club. Someone will respond, oh, are you Jewish? And they say, oh no, I'm just coming as an ally. But making it more accessible, not just making it strict Judaism and about Israel. And I think bringing in all like the different activities that you mentioned and the cultural food, and presenting it more as a learning experience rather than an exclusive group of Jews. I think that's a very effective strategy of drawing in all these allies that, as Robbie said, would probably not have come if the club wasn't presented that way.
I think a lot of allies, and I agree with you on this, surprisingly, they don't know that much about the anti-Semitism going on, even though we may think that it's all the news that we see, because at this point it is. The majority of what we see every single day is anti-Semitism. A lot of people don't know about it. Non-Jewish people don't know about it. And for example, through our Instagram, I've been working pretty hard on the Instagram account for the Jewish Culture Club. In the past 2 years, we've been emphasizing it. And we've created around, I actually don't know how, but we've gotten over 6 million views in total on all of our videos. Our videos averaging over 120,000 views.
Wow.
And with those thousands and thousands of views come thousands and thousands of comments.
Hate comments.
And let's just say that they're not so positive. They're definitely more hate comments than positive comments. And people at our school are shocked to see them. These hate comments aren't the typical ones talking about looks or something that you said in a video. Almost all of them come from a place of anti-Semitism and pure hatred. I remember getting comments like, I wish Hitler came and killed you and your whole family. Or, the only good Jew is a dead Jew. That's a pretty popular one. Many mentions of Hitler.
And Instagram doesn't take them down.
No, Instagram does not take them down. Even if you report them, it's very difficult for it to be taken down unless you're the one deleting them.
Yeah.
Even actual threats that we've got, like we publicize a day before our event saying where the event will be, what time, what to show up. We've gotten a few bomb threats for those events, whether they be personal threats or threats public through the comment section saying, I will bomb this room at this time, or I will come with a gun. So it's been pretty crazy. And a lot of people just don't know. People are shocked to see those comments, and they don't understand how anti-Semitism really is as prevalent as we've been saying it has been for the past 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, I think what you had is a really important point, of how anti-Semitism is so rapid, yet I think a lot of people don't understand it when they haven't faced, I think, the challenge of it. And I think especially for maybe Jewish teenagers entering high school, unsure of how to express their Judaism, it might be hard to try and stand proud due to all the stereotypes and all the hate they might get. So what advice would you give to a student in that dilemma?
Staying still, staying quiet, ducking down will get you nowhere. Staying in an environment that is built to hate you, even if you are staying quiet, you will always be hated. You're never going to be the Jew that they somehow love it instead of any other Jew. The only way to build a better environment is to build it yourself and take action. Be loud, be proud, be a Jew, be an activist, stand up for what's right, stand up for what you believe in, and don't let anyone shut you down because you're afraid of losing a friend. I know I've heard a lot of people say that exact same thing, that they're afraid that they'll lose friends if they speak up or stand out. I really don't think those people are friends. They're not worth your time. They're not worth being quiet for. If they can't handle your opinions or at this point, your identity, they're not someone that can push you forward.
I think it's an opinion that's widely contested right now in the Jewish community, I would say. But I think since October 7th, I think this has become a reality. Before October 7th, many Jews would say if something happened, we should ignore it. Maybe there's an anti-Semitic incident. Let's not draw too much attention to it. Hopefully it'll go away and we won't make anything more out of it. And now I think what you said is really the only path for Jews. Nobody's coming to save us. It's not going to go away. So we have to stand up for ourselves. But I think it also extends farther, not just high school and college. Jews are going to have the same dilemma. Do you stay on the good side with your professor or call them out with their biased anti-Israel maybe narrative? Do you keep all your friends for popularity, or do you have to lose some for standing up for your identity? And even in the workplace, people could find a similar dilemma. I think it's really about
It's like, where do you
principle.
start?
Exactly. And
When do you start? If you keep pushing it forward, though, be an activist next year. I just need to make my place in this community and then I can speak up. You're always going to find those excuses to not speak up, and you need to cut it right now.
exactly, at some point, I think you do have to pick your kind of priorities. Do you prioritize your identity first and your roots, your principles, or social popularity and being accepted, which is often fleeting and it's obviously not as core to you? So I also wanted to ask if you could go back and give your freshman year self one piece of advice about, this is pre-October 7th, right? Freshman year. Yeah. If you give yourself one piece of advice that, a lot of Jewish teenagers also going into high school right now who are pretty timid could take, what would that be?
Keep learning. You will never, ever, ever know enough, especially with how fast our world is changing and how fast our news is coming, which is the news recently. Someone will always come to you with an attack on your identity or your way of thinking, or even a lie that you won't be able to combat without educating yourself.
Yeah. I think you've been a former intern at Stand With Us and you were a leader at Club Z. So how do you think these experiences maybe shaped how you came to be and maybe shaped your information that helped you?
My work and education with Club Z and Stand With Us have definitely been the chunk of what I know and what I credit my knowledge about Israel and the Jewish world to. I joined Club Z right after October 7th in an attempt to start learning because I was late to the game and I needed to know everything pretty quickly. With Club Z, we started learning with bi-monthly meetings, just talking about Israel's history, pre-state and post-state, and anti-Semitism, how we could combat it. And with Stand With Us, I joined at a later age. I actually only started interning with them in my senior year, where we pretty much did the same thing, but focused more on how we could make programs. I think I know I would not be the leader I am today without Club Z and Gus and my experiences learning from them. And because of that, I can say that they're incredibly important for the future of Jewish youth. If you can't be a leader in your small community, whether that be your Jewish community, your school, you won't be able to be a leader outside of it. And Club Z and Stand With Us or any Jewish program is an incredible place to start for all people.
Just to clarify for our listeners, Club Z is an organization that really is the only one of its kind where it focuses on Jewish youth and specifically Jewish teenagers entering and in high school, where the goal is to educate them about Israel and combating anti-Semitism and really dangerous narratives that Jewish teens face right now in school and that they're going to have to face in college. So it's really the one organization that targets Jewish teens specifically and their knowledge about Israel and dangerous narratives, whether it's combating charges of genocide or apartheid or what to do when there's a anti-Semitic teacher at your school. So I think that's a very important organization for kids to consider and even join as they're approaching high school. And I think that's very important for parents to consider. And Stand With Us is also definitely a bigger organization, but it's also, they have a program for high schoolers, college students. And yeah, Itai, do you want to expand a little bit more on Stand With Us's role and how their program, what high schoolers do there? Because you're definitely more familiar.
So I'm sure a lot of our listeners or your listeners know about Stand With Us. You've definitely seen them online. They're one of the largest advocacy for Israel groups in the nation and internationally. Their high school program, which is called the Kenneth Leventhal Internship, is a wonderful program that you should all apply to for upperclassmen, so juniors and seniors, where you can learn about Israel's history through monthly meetings online and in person. And more importantly, I think come together in national conferences and international conferences with Stand With Us and learn from some of the most incredible activists that I've seen in the Jewish activist space. It's definitely a program worth looking into. It is adjacent to Club Z in that it teaches about Israel's history, but it definitely has more of an emphasis on creating programs to educate your community rather than the education and activism through, say, school board meetings that Club Z has.
Yeah, Itai. So kind of segueing to a slightly different topic. What has been your proudest moment as a Jewish leader, would you say?
Proudest moment. I think my proudest moment is a recurrent right one, and I wouldn't say it's one that comes from my achievement, but one that comes from my place in the community. Times that make me the proudest as a Jewish leader are times when people come with me with their problems or asking how they can move past a situation, whether that be someone coming to me with anti-Semitism that they experience, asking me how they should respond or what they should do, or someone asking me to speak at a school board meeting because they need help rallying people for being fair politically in classroom. So proudest moments are definitely the ones where people come to me for help because I feel, or those are the times that I recognize I have actually helped with and I can continue to help.
I think that primarily reflects your leadership qualities and how amazing you are in your role. I think that when you have so many people coming to you, they really see you as such a figure in the Jewish community. And I think you should definitely take pride in that, how people come to you for advice, people come to you for help, for knowledge about the Jewish community. I'm sure freshman you, whose goal of opening the Jewish club, probably couldn't have imagined that it would turn into that. I was also wondering, how do you think your role as this Jewish leader is gonna, obviously you're graduated, how's this gonna change in the future? How do you see yourself within the Jewish community in your next endeavors in your university? Do you plan to stay very active wherever you go? I'm sure you
Yeah.
are, but do you have any goals?
So next year I will be headed to the University of California, San Diego. And I'm very excited to continue my Jewish activism there. I hope to be a part of Hillel, Chabad on campus, and general Jewish activism there. I will always speak at city council meetings. They'll get even more tired of me than they are at the moment. Same thing with school board meetings and rallies. Being public with my opinions is very fulfilling to me. And I know that I'll be able to continue doing that, whether it be in university or even after university, and I will continue doing that.
Yeah, thank you, Itai. I feel like all of your activism and your goals and all of the just love and passion you brought to the Jewish community has been instrumental in combating anti-Semitism and just bringing the connection and community between in your area a lot, I think, strong. I think it's really fostered that. I think you really are what I think gives optimism to the future of Jewish youth. I know we ask that question often, but I feel like you are still young and you do bring what I personally see as optimism. I think what a lot of adults might look down and they see, and that's what gives them optimism for the future of Jewish youth.
Yeah, so we asked this question primarily to our more, I'll just say like older guests and people that have been involved in the Jewish community maybe for 20, 30 years. But I think it's interesting to get a perspective from our generation, Generation Z. So what role do you think Gen Z will play in the Jewish world in defending Israel? And are you optimistic about the future of America and the direction that the youth is headed?
So this is a very popular question, not only with your guys' podcast, but in general, I hear this asked a lot. What role do I think Gen Z or the younger generation will play in the future? I don't think Gen Z will play a role in the future. I think they're playing a role right now. There's so many teen activists that are trying every single day, fighting for equality and fighting for what they believe in. I think one of our best qualities that will push us forwards in our activism and what does make me hopeful or optimistic about our future in America and the future of Jewish people at large is that we're not shy. Gen Z is very loud about what they believe in. And even if they aren't necessarily already going to public spaces and saying their opinion, once you put them in that place, they will definitely say what they believe in because they don't believe in standing down for some higher power.
Okay, I think our audience has gotten to know you thoroughly, and I have to say, I know I'm super impressed by all that you've done and how you fit that really in such a short span of time, so much leadership, so much activism, and I think the Bay Area as a whole, the whole country has been extremely lucky to have you. I think you're the forefront of Jewish leadership, and I really hope you continue this path throughout your college journey and your professional life. So I really thank you for all that you've done.
Yeah, thank you.